Hey guys, it's Crystal. It has been a while. Last video I think I did was in November, so I'm back and we're gonna try to move forward with this. So we're gonna pretend that this is, like it was before, except we're doing this a little on the fly. So this is my intro instead of the video and the music that we had before. So since we're doing this coronavirus and everybody's isolating, I don't have Nate here to help me with my videos and editing them. So we're just gonna have to work with what we have. I just really wanted to touch base because I know a lot of us are stuck at home or choosing to be stuck at home and have a lot going on. And I've had, a lot of people message me, checking on me, seeing how I have been over the course of, almost this past year, but especially these last few months. And I've had a lot of people requesting that I start up the videos again, saying that they really helped them, and I do want to get back on track with this. I'm stronger now. Backtrack a little bit. The last episode I did, I think it was like the beginning of November, and I was on a downward spiral. Really kind of started at the end of September when I got my son's death certificates, and the reality really started setting in. I think I was just in autopilot before. I mean, obviously I was sad and hurting and brokenhearted, but each day that goes by, it just all becomes more real. So as time has progressed for me, in some ways the heartache and pain has gotten worse, but in some ways I'm getting stronger. So from probably, through the holidays, I knew I was going to have a tough time. I was really struggling with working and just where my life was. And so I did make the decision to quit my job at the beginning of January, thinking I was just going to take like a 2-month, reprieve and just kind of lay low and relax and let my head clear. And it started off pretty okay. I was doing well. And then towards the end of January, actually the day Kobe Bryant died, talk about triggering me. Kobe was one of Zach's heroes and the last of his heroes to still be alive. He's already lost Anthony Bourdain and Mac Miller, and Kobe was the last one. And for whatever reason, when Kobe died, obviously, that made me sad for his family, but it just really brought up a lot of emotions in me, just feeling like as time was going by, I was losing more pieces of my son, and that did make me feel like that. And Jake and I both really felt like that was just such an impact on us, and it made me just it really triggered me into probably the worst place that I had been through this time as far as the deepness of my depression. I pretty much stayed in bed for like 3 weeks, other than Nate kind of getting me out here and there. I stayed in bed. I was sleeping probably 18 hours a day, and now, that lasted about 3 weeks. About Valentine's Day, I started feeling better. And then some things kind of started triggering me again. I was seeing that my moods, I'm having a hard time with focusing and just, thinking through like my business plan, and I've just struggled with the thought of going back to work. I was planning on going back to work at the beginning of March and started applying for things, but in my mind, I just kept like, this just doesn't feel right. There were a few jobs that came across that I thought were a really good fit for me. And maybe after, this crisis is over, maybe I can revisit those. But ever since he passed, and then I started doing this project, The Life We Lived, there's been something in my heart that feels like there's a bigger picture for me in this. And one thing, I mean, those of you that know me, I mean, I'm a people person, not a huge crowd people person, but I connect. I mean, I want to sit and talk and pick your brain and, you know, share with you and help you. And that's just who I am. And so I've really been going through and really thinking about my life and the priorities in my life, and thinking, you know, in so many ways of how Zach lived and the risks that he took to live his life his way, where he was happy. He felt he was living his dream. And through this, it's made me really put into perspective, you know, what some of the things that I can do that would bring me happiness, and trying to figure out ways that I can do those things and pay rent and buy groceries and things like that, because I've had no income now for 4 months. So starting to panic. But in the background, I've still had, you know, was gonna start planning on starting up these videos again. I mean, I had a target date of doing them in March anyway. So some things happened that kind of brought this together. I had a friend, Lauren, that she and I were talking the other day about, you know, some ideas for me. And she came up with the idea that I basically do some phone-in calls, where maybe there's some people out there that, you know, so many of my friends have been so supportive, but I realize not everybody has that. And a lot of people are very private and don't want to talk. You know, they don't want to talk. They don't want gossip being stirred about them. What's going on in their life is very private, which I can relate to that, because in my past marriage, that's where I was. I didn't talk to anybody about what was going on in my life and my household out of shame, or feeling like I was going to be judged, or I didn't want to hear what they had to say. You know, I was just trying to keep my life together, and I didn't want anybody knowing my business, but I was just dying inside, breaking apart, you know. And I actually had started a nonprofit to kind of help with that situation, but the way it all unfolded, it didn't really work out the way that it was originally intended. And so, you know, Lauren and I talked, and she reminded me of all the conversations, you know, that she and I had hours and hours on the phone. And I've done that with my mom and my closer friends, where we just spill our guts, you know, and it's a judgment-free zone, and you just talk and have somebody to listen to. And so I want to bounce this idea off of you, because, you know, this is a little bit different territory for me. On The Life We Lived, I eventually want to be able to be out in the public and helping families that have struggled with addiction, women that have struggled with having, you know, addictive kids or spouse, just different scenarios in life, you know, somebody that's lost a family member, that's grieving. I mean, I've been through, my life hasn't been bad. It's just been very extreme in a lot of ways. There's friends that have, I can remember, or I can equate, and I've had friends kind of tell me about this too, but where basically your life and you are just this beautiful, you know, ornate glass object. And as life goes, you know, there starts being little things that hit this glass and cracks in the glass, just little minor cracks at first. You know, my cracks probably started when I was about 6 years old. And they, you know, as time went by, some of these cracks, things I got hit with were harder and harder and harder. And so up to the point of last year, I was holding myself together, but my whole glass, ornament of myself was just cracked all over. But that can be kind of cool, right? It's artistic. But when my son died, it made that glass art just shatter into a million pieces, and a million pieces that went everywhere, and I couldn't put back together again, or I felt like I couldn't. And in that, I had a couple of different friends that messaged me on this artwork that they do in Japan, I think, where they take broken objects, broken artwork, and they put it back together with gold as the, glue. And so it took what was something that was beautiful before, and then it got broke, and you think that it's worthless, and then you put it back together into something that's different. It's different meaning, and it's beautiful in a different way, but it's exquisite. And I've had several people that have sent me that and telling me that that's what they want for me, and that they feel that I can do that. And I've tried to, in myself, dig deep and see how I can do that. And the only way for me personally that I feel really good about myself and where I feel like I'm healing is trying to help other people. And so back to the discussion that Lauren and I had, she suggested that I do basically some call-ins where you're, for people that really don't have anybody to talk to, where you call in and you block a time of, say, 30 minutes that, it's just me lending an ear to you. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a licensed counselor. I'm not qualified to give, any kind of advice, so I wouldn't do so. But I would listen, and I would ask you questions, and hopefully make you think and help you find a place for yourself that, you feel like you're starting to move forward. In a different world, if I had lots of money, I would be definitely offering this service for free. But in the bigger scheme of what I want to do with this project, I need to start bringing in, generating some cash flow. So I've got some different, things that I want to throw out there. I want your feedback, see if you think it's a good idea, and if it's something that you feel is viable and that, is something I should go for. It's a situation for me. I'm home right now. I can start it up. I've already, established the website, the page and the YouTube and everything like that. So it's just taking what I've already started and taking it to a new phase. Eventually I want to do, like I say, some free projects where it's group, sessions and things like that in the public, where I'm meeting face to face with some people or connecting people. But the way that I'm going to be able to do that first is to generate money to where I've got the time and the effort and, the things that I need to make this work in a good way. So it really does come from a place from my heart. Those of you, if you know me and you've talked to me, maybe make some comments below that would give people, some encouragement on what kind of discussions, that I'm capable of having. I'm a deep person and a deep thinker. So not too many things scare me off, and I've been through just a lot of shit in my life, and so I can relate to pretty much every scenario. What I'm thinking as far as pricing would be for half-hour sessions, it would be a $25 fee. And I'm thinking if I can get it to where I can do some group sessions, that we would do maybe a group of me plus 3 others, so a group of 4 maybe, and the cost on a group session would be $10 each, and we would do a group for like 30 minutes and kind of see how it goes. Now, I know that we're in a time where money's tight and some people can't afford that. So I'm asking for those that can afford it, maybe you can pay it forward at this time and make donations that are for basically to take care of somebody's, talk time fee. So that, there are people in need that can't afford it, and if you can help, your $25 can help somebody just be able to yell and scream and talk to somebody that's not going to be affected, emotionally by what they say, and just to listen to them. Maybe you can make donations for that. One thing I'm also looking at in starting back up the videos is getting some sponsors. So if you would like to be a sponsor, I'm thinking about limiting it to 1 to 2 sponsors a show. I've got to figure that out, but if you're interested in a sponsorship, you can do that, or you can even do it basically as a sponsorship where either, you can be promoted, or we can be discretionary and not share your name if you just want to keep it private. So, but know that the phone calls would be strictly confidential. It would be in a setting where I'm here by myself, so nobody would be listening to the call. It will not be a video call. So, and I would buy a different phone, so I'm not going to be recognizing phone numbers. So I think not having the video gives you a little bit more comfort that you're safe, you're not exposing who you are if you don't want to, or things like that. The only caveat would be, the payment. So the payments would have to be made up front in booking your time. So I don't know. Once we had, she had this idea and threw it out there, and at first I was like, I really don't know how I feel about this. I mean, it's something I would love to do, but I wish I didn't have to charge for it. But for me to make this project grow in the way that I want it to grow, so that I can, hopefully we as a people can help other people be in a situation to maybe save their child or save themselves, or just release some anger and energy to where it just puts them in a better place to where they can be happier at home. I mean, I think it's worth it. So I'm curious to get your thoughts. I've missed you guys. Know that I am healing. I am getting stronger, and whatever I can do to help you, I want to do it. So with that, I'm going to close up in one thing. If you do think this is something that you want to do or a good idea, I'm going to need some encouragement here. I'm going to have some feedback. So either make comments below or message me. If you've got my personal info, message me through Facebook, or you can message me through the Facebook page for, The Life We Lived. And give me your feedback. I'm hoping that if I could get some confirmed commitments for, some booked spaces for this next week, then I'm going to go ahead and move forward with this immediately. I need to go out and buy another phone and things like that, so that I am not using up or giving away my private phone number. So I want to move forward. I want to move forward quickly, and I want your feedback. So help me out here. Help a sister out. If you think it's a good idea, let me know. If you think it's just I've lost my frickin' mind, let me know. It's always about risk, and I'm willing to take those, especially now. I see life different now. So hope we can come together in this, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Have a great Saturday. Bye. Stay safe. Don't buy all the toilet paper. Have a good day.